So what I want to talk about first is sort of the demand side of things and the customer. Who are the customers in the economy sector? It's certainly something that has been Indonesia has been the hot ticket for the last couple of years now, and particularly in the lower half of the market, I would say, and especially as it compares to many other markets. There's been a bigger focus, I think, in Indonesia, and a higher success rate in the economy sector than some of the other countries in Southeast Asia. Is there anything particular about Indonesia and the Indonesian traveler that lends itself to the economy sector, would you say? Let's start over with Norbert again.
Okay, thank you. I just scribbled down a few numbers because I thought that might be interesting. We're talking about a population of 240 million people. Last year, Nomura Bank in Japan did a study on the middle class and defined the middle class of households with a disposable income of $3,000. By 2004, these were 1.6 million people. By 2010, these were 50 million people. By 2014, it's predicted to reach 150 million people. Basically, it's the middle class and the growth of the middle class who is driving the economy segment. Some other interesting numbers: 2010 motor bicycle sales, Thailand 1.7 million, Indonesia 8 million, India 11.3 million, and China 16 million. So when I think of, if I compare the populations between China and Indonesia and how many motorcycles were sold in 2010, it's very encouraging for our economy. What I personally, and maybe my colleagues might disagree, find very interesting when it comes to the clients that stay in our budget hotels, we found out that they're not staying in our budget hotels only because they can't afford a better hotel. There's a certain market that is very budget-minded and that can't afford anything better, but this is actually only a small part of the market. I'm standing in front of my Faith hotels and look at the cars that arrive, and I see more Louis Vuitton bags than in front of the Hyatt. And I see a lot of wealthy people staying in the hotels. We found out that many people just simply don't want to spend a lot of money on a hotel and do it somewhere else, and the hotel experience is not really such an important part of the overall travel and vacation experience, unlike in Europe. So we have not only budget-minded people, we have also people that are very, very wealthy, that just don't want to spend the money on a luxury hotel.
No, maybe I will rebound on this. I think I'm not against, I completely agree with you. I think that's budget hotel, economic hotel is not a cheap hotel and it's not for a cheap market. That is totally a wrong perception. And when a few years ago we want to develop this segment, many owners say, but what's the point to invest so much money? Is for a very low market. Forget about it, it's not a low market. It's this customer can be a customer of 4-star hotel, 5-star hotel, came back another day on a budget hotel or economic hotel. So that is the profile. So I completely agree with you. And what they will look, number one is the commodity, the location, the price. It's true in Indonesia, very price oriented. We say, put it, okay? It will be very price oriented. Location, but nevertheless, I will say, please, if there is an Indonesian in the room, not to be offended, a bit spoiled, because even they will look the cheapest price, the best location, but they will have high demand of quality. They will be very picky if the bed is wrong, if the tile is dirty, so they will have very high expectation. I think Indonesia has been the pioneer in the economic hotel since Accor 20 years ago, okay? And was much more in advance for all the, compared to other countries in Asia. So the market is already quite mature and a good knowledge of what it means economic budget hotel, what they pay, what they expect as a value. So it's a very interesting case in Indonesia compared to the country that will be the most advanced in economic market. So profile, yes, look, price number one, location and quality.
I think I'll have the same comment like what Mark mentioned. The profile will be more on domestic market with some intra-Asia, and again, price will be the top priority is budget and economy brand, and then but also sometimes you will see some, like Norbert mentioned, you have people with Louis Vuitton, etc. It will be a case that there might be no option to pick the hotel. So no option to take the mid-scale hotel or upscale hotel, and they might take the economy brand. And then, of course, location and facility, free Wi-Fi, cleanliness, hygiene, the quality of services. So I would say the budget economy, the hotels in Indonesia, the customer are quite spoiled since the beginning, and it still continue on that direction up to now.
Yeah, for us, you know, based on our experiences, that the economy customers, you know, might similar to all markets. The main issue is the price, you know. As you might also aware, you know, people who are staying in the most people are staying in a budget hotel. They are from middle level, middleman, management, or managers or something like that. And you know, and some of them, to be very honest with you, they would like to save money a little bit, you know, on their accommodations allowance that they get. Yeah? So they choose budget hotel with a very good price, you know, fair price, as long as the budget hotel can provide them with clean room, good night's sleep, you know, and a Wi-Fi, and at least, you know, they can have a laptop size safe deposit box, yeah, and they don't really, you know, need facilities, you know, best facility or something like that. As long as it's safe, you know, and when they go outside, you know, they have restaurants on the other side, they have, you know, a cafe or something and so forth, yeah, it's okay for them. And also very important for you, you know, for us, you know, to consider is should be a good access, a good traveling access to busway, taxi, and all means of transportation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. You mentioned the traveler is perhaps spoiled. I'm not sure how that relates to other countries necessarily. We saw the presentation from India with quite a large percentage in the economy sector of very much unbranded hotels. I'm not sure they even looked like hotels, many of the pictures that we saw there. But we don't necessarily see the same thing in Indonesia. For many years, and as you mentioned, with Accor coming in quite early into Indonesia and establishing in secondary and tertiary markets with brands in the lower end of the market, how important is the brand, both in Indonesia particularly, but also Indonesia in terms of economy brands, and how important is that to the success of the venture? Let's start with...
For Accor as an international brand, I think the first one would be the preference, the brand standard, the product and service standard, the consistency of the services provided to the hotel by brand, and of course the professionalism of the staff. And normally with the brand also, you increase the the potential to sell more through the network. So I think that would be the most important on this.
Do you think that is more important in Indonesia than it is in other countries? And is it more important in the economy sector than it would be in the, let's say, mid-scale sector?
Yeah, because you see from the presentation from Adi earlier, we have our own the booking engine that we establish through the brand as well.
Okay. Mark?
So, okay, in your question, there's two aspects between the chain or individual, and in fact, we're in a situation we have three levels. There's individual hotel, there's a local brand, and an international brand. So, number one, I think the brand for the customer, overall Asia are very brand-minded. Okay, so anything, some clothes and everything, Starbucks, McDo, the culture of the brand is quite strong all Asia. Okay, that is number one as a background. Two is a guarantee of certain consistency, management, product, and all this. I think people need to be secure. Asians need to be secure. That is very important for them also. They don't like surprise. Sometimes Westerners, they like to adventure. Asians don't like adventure. They want to do something secure, no adventure. They want to get a guarantee of what they get for the price. That also the mindset is a bit different. So the brand has this effect, secure the customer and the leverage communication and all this. Now, between a local brand or international brand, for me, I won't make a big difference, okay? At the beginning, yes, because maybe a local brand, like Norbert or us with Tosia, Reese, Pop, and all this, we have at the beginning maybe an advantage because we are a bit born in the country, we grow with the country, so we are from the country. But another brand like a group like Accor is more or less born with the country, even if it's international, but he has been in the country since 20 years now, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a bit the same advantage. For a newcomer brand, that is different. But the one who has been already for 10, 15 years, in Asia it means a lot. In Indonesia also, this kind of loyalty to the country, consistency, payback. Yeah? The one coming now because Indonesia is blossom and fantastic, then maybe the game is different. I think in Asia it's very important how long you are consistent with the country, it pays. So even if you're international or local brand.
Like I said before, the Indonesian customer, like I think other Asian customers, will jump a lot. They try always new things. They're very curious and very open-minded. But they jump within brands. And it's very, very important to have a brand in Indonesia. And have a brand that has an international pedigree and is known for international standards. The customer pays more for that, and they buy this. They don't go to a local Malati-type hotel, we call it, anymore, especially the 25 to 45-year-olds. Yeah? That's also one of the reasons why you barely see any traditional old historic hotels in Indonesia, and the handful they have are not that successful and live off Western tourism and not off the domestic market. Yeah. One more thing, I'm sorry, I just mentioned. Let's not forget, please, with a brand also comes the service behind the brand, and that's actually crucial. If you are opening a budget hotel, with the kind of salaries that a budget hotel can afford to pay its general managers and FCs, you're not getting the most senior, most experienced people, you're getting young people in the beginning of their career. And it's therefore extremely important that you have a brand behind it who does the training, who does the auditing, who does the cash reconciliation, who does all the checking, who does the hygiene checks, because otherwise, it's going downhill very fast.
Yeah, we agree with you. You know, there's nowadays, you know, the medium tier people have no more access to informations, and of course, you know, a brand from a recognized management company will definitely enhance the value of an economy hotel, yeah, compared to a self-run hotel units, and you know, a guest can be more, you know, have peaceful in mind, you know, because they will know that they will get the facility and the services guaranteed by the brand, because those good company, you know, will make sure that everything is followed according to the brand himself. Yeah. Okay,
good. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the supply side of things, and a little bit about the geography of Indonesia and where we see sort of a lot of the growth happening. Obviously, Bali and Jakarta, Bali on the leisure side and holiday side, and then Jakarta more of a business side, has been clearly flourishing for the last couple of years and have been more or less stable markets for many years. Let's talk about the other markets within Indonesia that are also coming up, and that I know, you know, all of you have a presence in many of these cities already. But where do you see the biggest growth potential going forward from now on? Within Indonesia, what are the markets that you think are sort of the hot tickets? Mark?
Well, it's true that even if the market is booming everywhere, mid-scale economic in Asia, especially in Indonesia, this boom already started 2 years ago, and some location, I think, better be plan, because there is a beginning on oversupply. Bali, I would be delicate cautious. Okay? Sorry to put a bit Bahasa inside. And some other second city also, which I will mention, I'm sure we will agree, Solo, Semarang, and maybe others, which I think is already limit oversupply. And there's nice property, all the developers make a nice property, but then the return investment, question mark, okay? Because the rate is still very low on certain places. So that is a bit of downside of it. Nevertheless, there is many other parts of Indonesia. There is third city around Java, Sumatra, Borneo, East Indonesia. Still there is a room for growth, there is no doubt. And a big city, capital city like Jakarta or Surabaya, also Don't forget Jakarta is 25 million people, is Malaysia within one zone, and that is a big room of development. So that, I think, for me, is what I will see the big growth of development. Concerning the third city, yes, people feel Watermark, yes, is a big new target third city, but the third city in Indonesia are not the third city in China. So third city is not 10 million people. Huh? So third city is much smaller in Indonesia. So when we get 5, 6 hotels, already fulfilled. Okay? So also, let's don't be overexcited at the third city. The first few hotels operate okay, then after we'll be already oversupplying. Yeah, this for me.
Yeah, we always say the only thing better than no competition is bad competition. And by that I mean there's a lot of older local hotels. And in every area where you have a lot of them, 3 or 4 or 5 clustered up, that's a perfect location for a faith, because we know there's already a market and we can take it. Yeah, I totally agree with Mark. Hands off Bali. It's getting really bad over there in Kuta, especially in the mid and in the budget segments, by far too many hotels coming, and occupancies are already dropping. Semarang and Solo, Semarang in particular has the lowest average rate in Indonesia. I would definitely stay away from Semarang and Solo. Out of the 15 faiths that we are running right now, the only one that we have struggled with and are really fighting hard for is the one in Solo. Everybody else sells out automatically. Yeah? Other than that, every other city that Garuda and Lion Air fly into still has a lot of growth potential.
Very good. Yeah. In my opinion, I mean, based on our what they call survey and so on and so forth, and also we do some investment, and we're also clearing the land. There is big company, from Japan, Korea, and some from Europe. They are clearing the land in Karawang. Karawang Estate is an industrial estate, and they plan to move the what they call the factory here to Karawang Estate. They clear thousands of hectares of lands. Yeah? And it's going to be a huge industrial estate over there in Karawang. Yeah? One of the reasons they tell us, is because China has now become more expensive. It's going to become more expensive. The wages are more increasing. Everything is increasing. So Indonesia is still potential for them, especially they start with Karawang. That's we can call it Java Island. Yeah. If we move outside Java, Banjarmasin is one of the biggest potential that I will tell you, because you know what, to have hotel we also have to think about infrastructure, and in Banjarmasin very soon, I think they start already. They're going to build an aeropolis airport. It's going to be a very big airport, and it's an international airport. It's go directly to Japan, to Hong Kong, and to Europe from the airport. As you may know, Kalimantan is well known of this mining resources and so on and so forth. But to invest budget hotel in Balikpapan, we'll make no mistakes. Yeah. The other cities is Manokwari. Manokwari, they always have full occupancy. Manokwari is safe, like Sorong. Manokwari is safe, And Sentani is also good. It's also in Papua, but the level of security, is over in Sentani is still a question mark. I have, I have my hotel, what they call hotel staff, opening hotel in Sentani, and in 1 month he had been robbed for 3 times. Sorry for him, but he returned to his dormitory. So, but in Sorong and what they call in Manokwari, it's good. Yeah. So when it comes to Bali, I still see Bali as a good place. Bali will always be Bali. I know we now experience a shoulders occupancy simply because maybe Australia, the holiday period was over, and Thailand is offering, you pay 4, you get 8, and also in Fiji Island and other places, and also there is also rumors, which I'm not going to check, that for Australian citizens or permanent residents, China is offering $100 to stay 1 week in Rigi, somewhere in China. It's one nice places and one nice place in China. It's near Tibet. $100 for 1 week. Hotel, including tour. Yeah, not including food and beverage. Hotel including you for 1 week if you're Australian. And it's not closed only for Australian. If you are an Indonesian, you have relatives in Australia, you can ask them, you know, to book for you, and you meet there maybe somewhere in Beijing. Yeah, so this must be a what they call a government support program. Yeah, but what they're doing now. So, and this is already affect Bali a lot. But Bali will still be Bali, you know. It cannot. Unless there is, sorry?
Do you think there's a risk for Bali to be overdeveloped, though, to a certain extent? It's gotten very congested. We had a conversation earlier, Norbert, about that. That Bali will always be Bali, but Kuta and Legian, that area of Bali, it's quite saturated. Yeah.
But also the local governor of Bali is now, you know, slow down the what they call permission, the permit to develop new hotels. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But in some area, when you say it's a condo hotel, it's not a hotel, you might have, you know, chances to run. But okay, if you can forget Bali, then see what they call Balikpapan. Very interesting, and you will see, you know, you read my lips. It's going to be an Aeropolis, a big airport over there in Banjarmasin. Thank you.
I think for international brand, we are looking of big potential in Indonesia. At the moment, most of the operators are quite centralized in west part of Indonesia, but we are now looking at Sumatra, Java, especially on the secondary cities. Jakarta, of course, even the secondary area in Jakarta. Bali, we are very selective at the moment because, as mentioned, it's quite congested. So we have to look which area, which market potential, capture, etc. But then, I think central part of Indonesia start to show its potential. Kalimantan or Borneo and Sulawesi. I think once the infrastructure are more stabilized in the east part of Indonesia, there's another huge potential with the mining business and the agriculture.
Okay.
Just quickly, has anybody ever heard of Lombok, an island called Lombok? Since like 15 years, people say Lombok will be the next Bali, and it never happens, but now it is, I think. I've got 5 leads in Lombok for new hotels already. I think it's really starting now, and Lombok will be big, very big.
Are there any other resort-type destinations like Bali or Lombok? I mean, Indonesia has, I think, the longest coastline in the world, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Am I right on that?
In fact,
Komodo Island.
Yeah, Komodo Island.
Komodo, and what I heard will be the other happening place will be Sumba, which is actually just next to Lombok. It's a Sumba Island. Okay. And there are a lot of investment now taking place in that area. So now the government are plotting the land on the beachfront and start selling the area.
In line with sort of market, but looking a little bit more micro, what do you look for when you're looking to develop or open, looking for a deal for an economy hotel or a budget hotel? What are some of the characteristics that you look for that are specific perhaps to Indonesia in terms of location within a city or that sort of thing? Obviously, you know, access was mentioned already, but are there any sort of peculiarities or special challenges with regards to Indonesia in terms of finding a location?
Yeah, of course, for us, hotel business, we need to be quite prudent as well to assess the hotel. The economy background and growth in the area, the market potential to capture access, especially for us when we provide the full support from the operation. And of course, the infrastructure and then the location of the site itself. So this will be our main criteria to assess.
Well, we will be a bit the same. I think for me, number one would be the partnership. That is number one. It's not directly the location, but the partnership is a key factor. Even more for a budget hotel, because the close relation between owner and operator is very important to make the hotel efficient. So number one, the partnership is very important, is the key. Second, location. I would say the second comment, I think for big city, more there will be traffic, better will be. Okay, sorry for the one on the car, but the distance is going to be more and more nightmare from one place to another place. So welcome for the hotel, welcome for the budget hotel. At least you can provide, you can get always somewhere to sleep. Like you might have maybe a 7-Eleven, as long as you have anywhere you can sleep comfortable, good price, I think it would be a key factor. That is overall. Location is number one. It can be mixed developments with some shopping around nearby, mainly for the budget hotel where there is no services or limited services. One factor, one issue will come soon on the big city is the parking space. I don't know any numbers, but today the number of cars and motorbike in Indonesia, when you see any motorbike, you can imagine in 5 years it's going to be a car. Okay? And then on the budget segments, economic segment, most of them will come by car. And today, an hotel with a good large parking facility, even if it costs money today, I'm sure in 5 years it will pay back. So that location, land, parking facility will be a key factors. And industrial area, okay, that is also can be very convenient. Okay? Small city has to be downtown, big city has to be more in the suburb.
Right.
Yeah.
Norbert, you mentioned earlier that there's quite a lot of local hotels, particularly in secondary and tertiary cities, that are perhaps not running to the potential that they should be, or with a brand behind them. For generally speaking in Indonesia, is it more new construction, or are there potential for rebrands and for taking over existing properties and rebranding them into economy of hotels?
Yeah. I can only speak fast. We don't do any takeovers. We only do new builds. We're not interested.
Okay.
And I think overall in Indonesia, we have 1 or 2 takeover, but even more in economic budget, it's more headache when you take over.
More headache, okay.
And due to the situation in Indonesia, most of it is brand new.
Okay.
But specific economic and budget hotel, better avoid it. It's even more complicated.
Any comment on that? No? Okay. All right, we have another 5 or so minutes. We're going to switch topics again and talk more about the investment side as it relates to economy hotels in Indonesia. In terms of minimum investment for an economy hotel, we heard some figures from India that it was comparatively more expensive because of the engineering side of things. What is that dynamic in Indonesia in terms of economy hotels? 20,000?
It's $20,000 per room bay, which is more or less okay. Yeah. 20,000 to 25,000. Yeah. But okay, I mean, we are talking about the return. You know, we also have to consider the land price, the land cost, because this is one of the heavy factor. There is numbers of alternative. You know, you can do it on a BOT scheme, build operation transfer, which is much cheaper. It's only about 10%. Yeah. Will give you more quicker return, but as you might not also aware that owners in Indonesia, they don't look only for what they call for yield. They don't only look for return, but they would like to. But what they're looking for, you know, especially in Java Islands, is the capital gain. It's the price of the land 5 or 10 years after now. You can buy, you know, a land in Cikarang for 50,000, Cikarang near the estate industrial, for 50,000 to 100,000 per square meters. Yeah, and believe it or not, you know, in 5 or 10 years, yeah, maybe 1 million per square meters. So this is sort of capital gain they're looking for. Thank you.
Okay. So on our side, I would like to precise again, like we just mentioned previously, like in India. In Indonesia, there is many brands coming up, but there's not a clear differentiation between budget and economics. I would like to emphasize on this because we all put in the same basket, but it's also different segments. So for me, for budget hotel, I will specify, which is limited service, maybe no breakfast or just a quick bite, like in the case of Pop. Okay, we estimate investment on 25,000, excluding land, could be until 28. Initially it was 25, but all this construction going in Indonesia, the price coming up, many things coming up. So today it could be 28. Now, when we're talking more economic hotel, which is one step above, okay, then I will estimate around 30,000, 35,000 per rooms, okay. So let's don't put the two brands. I mean, it's two different markets, and let's don't mix up because. And in Indonesia, they need to clarify a bit this. It's a bit mix up. Okay? So budget hotel, I would say 25, 28, and on the economy market will be around 35, a bit above. Return investment, yes, number one, subject to the land, and many times in Indonesia, they don't care too much, this return investment. Word to mouth, yes, they will say 5 years, it's fantastic and all this, but they don't take all the parameters in consideration. The land, the loan, because the interest rate in Indonesia is still high, 11%, 12%, and if you borrow at 60% or even more sometimes, you cannot talk anymore about return investment. All this is blow up. Okay? So, but like Bapak mentioned, it's true, many Indonesians has the land, okay, so they don't care all this. It's just what will be my value later on. That is number one. And so they just want to keep the land busy, okay, and get cash out of it. So they don't have all this Western parameter and all this. It's more down to earth, okay. And the second issue also, not the issue, but the option, also there's a lot of cash available in Indonesia. And there's many owners with this cash, maybe in Indonesia, maybe in Singapore, okay, need to land somewhere. And then they can build hotel without loan. Okay? So at least the money is running. So all our classical parameter which we have in Europe, return investment, this, it doesn't always apply in Indonesia. There's a different logic. Well.
Okay. Robert, just not on that question because we're almost out of time. Financing for hotels. Both equity, you mentioned there's a lot of cash around. What about the banks? In terms of financing economy hotels, how's that dynamic?
The banks are very aggressive and very eager to give money. It's very easy to get a loan in Indonesia. 70% can easily be financed. If you have a connection and you buy the guy a little gift, you get even more. Very, very easy. What is happening in Indonesia a lot, and I haven't heard from anybody else in the room before, is they do a lot of condo hotel development. And by condo hotel, I mean not that we are building condominiums. Everything can be a condo hotel. By condo hotel, I mean that they're selling the individual units, individual rooms off to investors, and then they get a return of investment. We have some Faith 2-star hotels that are condo hotel. We have a Grand Aston 5-star that's a condo hotel. It's all over Indonesia. We have like 12 or 13 condo hotels, and that's one of the vehicles they use a lot to finance development.
That's interesting.
But this point, I think, sorry to add, I think it's very sensitive because it's part of the market. So people build a hotel not because with a clear economic value, they just build for those reasons. When you get 80% loan, people build it, but it's dangerous. And people have a short memory what happened in the 90s. So they better be cautious. If you finance 50, 60% loan, that is wise, okay? And then all your ratio is better. So that is a bit the negative side of it. And people start to get a bit more and more excited in development, and they forgot what happened in 98. So they better be more pragmatic and down to earth.
Pragmatic.
I think additionally, for operated hotel, some owners, not some owners, many owners, they are not that open to operators on their loan structure. And sometimes we give that advice and they do whatever they want.
I see. We're actually out of time, but I want to give the audience an opportunity to ask questions as well. So any questions from anybody? One over there, please.
Hi, my name is Joko. I would like to ask something about the condo hotel because I know it's flourishing, especially in Bali. I was wondering if you have any data that showed the performances of these condo hotels, because in my opinion, as a hotel operator, if you manage just with one owner, it's already somewhat difficult. But if you have to deal with hundreds or even 10 owners, it's 10 times the headaches.
100 times.
Yeah, maybe 100 times. So.
I have to jump in there because we are considered a condo hotel specialist in Indonesia, and I'm so glad if other hotel companies think it's complicated to run a condo hotel. Please continue believing that and don't get into that market. 100 small owners are much, much easier to handle than one big guy. Much, much easier. It all depends on how you set it up, how you set up the homeowners associations in the before field, all the contracts before. It's actually very easy to do and works very, very well. Our first condo hotel was with Bakri in Jakarta. It's doing a return of investment of 16% per unit now. It's hugely successful. For us, it's a model that has been a blessing.
Well, I will give you a bit another tone on my side. I think, yes, the first few condo hotels in Indonesia most probably has been successful in return. But people forget that the condo hotel is not only profit sharing. One day can be loss sharing. And the way structured legally is nothing binding. Everybody will knock on your door to collect the profits, but when you knock on the door to pay the cost of operation, because Indonesia, Bali one day will be slowed down, then there will be a lot of condo hotel will drop and fail. So I believe it's a market segment which has been developed anywhere else in Europe on this, but they need to have rules, strict rules. Okay? And if people do develop a condo hotel just because they get a piece of land, no money to develop, pre-sale on paper, don't engage the money, that is dangerous. So we do also some condo hotel, but we require the owner to own a certain number of units and keep it 50%, 40%, at least his anchor. He's the number one owner within the property. He secure the buyers, he secure the long terms, and also we make system in place in case there is a slowdown in the economy, then he can protect operator and the buyers. We have to be careful. And I think today Indonesia, it was a big boom 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago. The buyers become smarter and smarter now. They will say to the developer, build first and I will pay. And when he will pay bit by bit. Huh? He will really see the developer to build first. So you have to be cautious. It can work, but it's not going to be the best solution for everything. And sometimes it's spoil the market because too many rooms coming up in the market.
Yeah, I think. Quick one. Sorry, quick one. I'm saying what Pak Joko has mentioned is make a lot of sense because we also have some hotels with list on a list spec program. What I would like to suggest, you buy the building, for the first, let's say there's a 10-story building, 1 to 5 floor is a hotel, and 6 to 10 is an apartment. Yeah. Of course, you have to be very careful because you are going to face the body corporate, and so on and so forth. You make everything split through the genset, through the genset, and other equipments. You make it split. Yeah. What you can do, by selling, let's say from 5th floor or 6th floor upstairs, the money you get, you can have the hotel for free. Well, this is for our experience. Yeah. I mean, if you would like to have a free hotel, you do like that. But again, you have to have a separate elevators, a separate what they call lobby, separate entrance, okay, and then you have to be very careful with the body corporate. Make sure if they would like to make everything in under one body corporate, that the numbers of the size, of the what they call ratios, building ratios, is higher than them. So you are still you are still majority when there is some what they call voting in a race. Yeah. That's fun. Thank you.
I think the notion of a free hotel sounds like a good idea. So on that note, we are going to say thank you very much, and please join me in thanking the panel. Thank you.